I know a lot of people took issue with the way Jay's character was handled in episode 8. However, I would like to argue that not only did episode 8 not ruin Jay's character, but it actually did the unthinkable. It made her a more interesting one. In the pilot, Jay is introduced to us as being a corporate bootlicker who hates N for existing. That's her character. A simple, one dimensional trope. Although, to be fair, pretty much every character was a one dimensional trope, so it's hard to fault her for that. In general, she seems to carry herself with an air of confidence that often turns into narcissism. She sees herself as a boss, viewing herself as objectively better than her subordinates and not hesitating to show when she is less than impressed by them. And despite N being the puppy dog, Jay is incredibly loyal, worshipping JC Jensen and the humans in general, even seemingly expressing a desire to be human based on her drawing in episode 5. Yet her loyalty seems to be her biggest flaw. She is mindlessly and unambiguously loyal. She will never defy her superior's orders, even when doing so would be the better option. In episode 5, when Tessa asks her to break her out of the chains, Jay refuses, saying, corporate, meaning Tessa's parents. However, Jay does eventually do so after being egged on by corporate talk and willingly assists Tessa, perhaps suggesting that she's willing to break the rules if it's for the greater good, a trait that she would lose as time goes on when she willingly sides with Sin. Now, I've seen a lot of people misinterpret her siding with Sin in episode 8, claiming that it butchered her character, that Liam just doesn't know how to write her. Now, this may come across as aggressive or pretentious, but I would say that people who make this argument are simply too blinded by their love for Jay to admit that their interpretation of her is wrong. Anyway, back to the analysis. Jay isn't used to operating without an authority figure. At the Elliott Manor, it was Tessa and her parents, and on Copper 9, she believed it to be JC Jensen. She's always had a head, someone to look to for guidance. She also seems to have a problem with failure, as in the JC Jensen training tape. Yes, I'm using a merch vid for an analysis video. Bite me. She literally explodes upon realizing she made a mistake. And while this is obviously exaggerated for a joke, it's not that far fetched to imagine that Canon J may also not deal with failure or disappointment great. She's used to being useful. She's used to being a tool. She likes praise and hates disappointing her bosses. Jay hates Sin, but doesn't feel she has any choice in whether or not she can side with her. The Solver is an incredibly powerful entity with control over her. It can directly possess her body and mess with her memories, erasing and altering them to feed her whatever narrative it wants. Not even death is an escape, as she can just be revived and is arguably more susceptible to suggestion while dead and unable to defend herself. And even then, she doesn't even respect Sin as a boss. Unlike when she was with Tessa and believing she was working under JC Jensen, she was cool, calm, and casual. On the other hand, she seems incredibly annoyed with Sin and constantly anxious. I mean, compare the way she fights in the pilot to episode 8. In the pilot, she's much more confident and sure of herself. Even when her vision is impaired, she doesn't hesitate to attack. However, in episode 8, she seems much less confident, remorseful during her fight with V, and constantly anxious during the final fight, including hesitating to attack multiple times, which leads to her getting beheaded. She isn't fighting with her normal confidence and flair because she doesn't believe in Sin's goals. She doesn't want Copper 9 destroyed or the universe consumed. She just wants to be useful to her boss. Jay is honestly a pathetic character. She talks a big talk and thinks of herself as the alpha, but in reality, she's just a coward who will do whatever it takes to save her own skin. Anyway, that's all from me. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all next time.